Well, hello, folks. It's Ron Howard from Extreme Sequences. And the day has come. Oh my goodness, 2020.8. I've been waiting for this since 2017. I was really excited way back when I had this crazy idea, and I mentioned it to a developer. I think it was Keith. I don't remember when, but it was way back, and it was all about, if you've ever seen the Visio drag and drop icons to make paths follow operations. I used to sell enterprise content management, so when you work with some pretty high end software, the drag and drop wizards that were built into softwares many years ago really made the concept easier for clients to understand because it was very visual, and what you would put in place were the actions that would unfold, and visually it led to good things. Sales, that's always a good thing, right? Yeah. But anyway, I'd mentioned this way back about, wouldn't it be cool if you could just drag a controller onto the screen and say, okay, this controller goes to this prop, or this prop goes to this controller, and this goes to that controller, and this goes to that controller. And well, that sort of has come out with this idea that you can take your mega tree and change that start channel to a controller. But there's some things that have to be put in place first for that to happen. We'll take a look at it. And the other part was, would it be nice if I could just assign the outputs easier than clicking on this and going to my port and telling it what port? Now, you have to be careful what you wish for, because maybe it's faster with the ability to drag and drop. And by the way, stop what you're doing. You're really going to want to pay attention to this, okay? Because this could be helpful, or it may not be helpful. All right? Because visually, and maybe this is a change they can make. Visually, when I'm making these adjustments for the port outputs, I see my layout. So I know, okay, if I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to feed into this guy, I know that this is port 1, and I want this to be port 1. But if you take that away from me, and you just give me, let me hit save here. A couple things I need to do. I need to do my, do I need my auto layout? Okay, well, there's a couple things here. Auto layout is going to basically take over and decide what gets assigned what with the channels. Whereas if you don't have that selected, you are still in control of deciding where the universes and channels start on the controllers. Okay? So I think if you're starting off brand new, it's not a bad idea to have this and just let them assign where they are. If you are like me and already have a lot of your models assigned universes, and maybe you want to use these features for new models going in, that's one thing. Or maybe a brand new controller that you haven't set anything up, maybe that's a good reason to do that. So on my Falcon here, we've got some things missing. I need to make sure I tell this F16v3. I'm going to put a variant in of one expansion board. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go over here, make sure this xLights F32B, sure, that works. No serial, yep. And the idea is, and you notice, I'm not going to use auto layout models. I've been working with this morning for a bit, and I didn't like what that did. And even Keith mentions that it might be helpful and it might not, something to consider. Well, I'm considering not using it right now. I'm going to go back to my layout. I'm going to look at my tree. And let's see if this will allow me to see. It still doesn't. It's still using start channel. I want to make sure that I get to see the mega tree on here for the controller. And I think if I click auto layout, and I'm not really sure why this does this. I'll click save. Now I'm going to go back over here. I bet you I get to see it. There's my mega tree. Okay, so now I can assign that to my mega tree and click save, and I can go up to my star and tell it that I want it to also be on the mega tree controller and save. And it's telling me, look, you haven't assigned any ports. No, I have not yet. I will. Give me a moment. I'm going to go back to my controller. While I have selected my Megatree controller, and there are 20 universes, I only need 6. I put a little extra in there. No big deal. I'm going to click on the visualizer. And on the visualizer, we are going to see all the ports for that controller on the left, because there's 48 possible with the F32. And then we're going to see all these models on the right. And what I'm looking for is my 24 string Megatree, and I'm going to put that on port 1. And it automatically takes up all 24 ports. Beautiful. And then I'm going to take my Megastar and put that on port 25. Now, of course, if I wanted to put the Megastar on the end of string 24, certainly I could do that, and it creates a virtual string. There we go. No big deal. But I like to have mine separate, and it's on port 25. And that's it. Simple, simple, right? We'll close out of that, and we'll look at this next controller, and we'll click on the visualize, and you can see here a couple things were already left in there that I didn't take out. So what I'd probably do is just, let's get rid of these. Those were still clinging on to something. We can start assigning where we want things. And I could take my arches, and if that's where I'm going to start on port 1, great. Candy canes, port 2, port 3, port... Oh, let's put this on candy cane 2. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go, there we go. And then, see, the drag and drop works really nice. Hats off to the developers for making this nice ice... eye candy, not ice. Ice candy, yes, that's even better. But here's my problem with this, and maybe they will take the suggestion. It would be great if I had my house preview somewhere over here so I could see the physical lay of the land as I'm pulling this over. Because when I get to things like my verts, and I've got, you know, a fairly decent size or moderately sized layout, I may need to see that for reference. So maybe I'm going to start vert 1 on port 10, but now I can't remember, does vert 1 go into Eve 1? Now I've got to stop what I'm doing here, leave this, go back over here and go, okay, here's vert 1. Was that going to go into anything? I don't know, because that's going to go up, and it could tap into this, but maybe not. So then maybe this is Eve 1 is going to follow that. So now I can go back, and be careful. Once you hit save, you are saving it. If you've made a mistake, you need to click X. Click the X button up here, kill it, and come back in. So go back to my controller, and I'll go back to my visualize. And now maybe what I want to do is put Eve 1 on port 11. So let's go find Eve 1. And I know for this layout that these are all going to daisy chain. And of course I didn't daisy chain. Let's do it properly now. Let's put this on here and Eve 3 after that. So on pixel port 11, Eve 1, Eve 2, Eve 3 are all daisy chain. That's 150 pixels. No sense you know, wasting ports when I can get 150 easily, because maybe that's a receiver that's going to be tucked up there. Don't know. Right now it looks like it's just a long wire running from wherever the controller is. And that's okay, because I can take this. If I have a receiver that's starting on 17, I'll just take this to 17. Then I'll take this to 17 and this to 17. And now basically I've said on port 17, which might be the first receiver after an F16 V3 because it has an expansion. So you kind of get the idea. It's very easy to move these around. If you make a mistake, you can just drag this over to the right. So if I accidentally put this here, I didn't want that, you drag it back over to the right, you're done. No big deal. But I do kind of like this idea. The question is it faster to do it this way? Or is it faster to be in here and just assign the model. Now you notice I did make that change. There's 17. Of course, that's a peak. So my other Eve is probably over here or wherever I put it. Doesn't really matter. I think you get the point. This should be peak 1 should follow Eve 1. Let's go back and fix that. This will be fun. Let's go into our visualizer. Let's go back to our Eve 2 is not what needs to go there. It needs to be peak 1. So after Eve 1 is peak 1 and then peak 2. That's better. Now let's close out of here. And I do like and appreciate the fact that it is in real time. We're seeing that these changes are made. I haven't hit save yet, but output 17 for peak 1 and 2 does follow the Eve. I like that. Would it have been faster for me to just go in here and say that this is output 11? Oh, I just hit save. Oh, that is a habit. Oh my gosh. I have preached always hit save or enter when you do things so you don't lose it. And I just did it. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Because watch what happens. You notice I'm clicking out of here. This was 12. This is 13. Notice I didn't hit enter or anywhere else, so 13 doesn't hold. Let's go back here. Let's hit save. Let's go to our controller and see the changes backwards. Let's look at the visualizer to see what I've done. Ah, look at that. There it is. 11, 12, 13, window 1, 2, 3. So it works both ways. Okay. It's up to you to decide which way's faster. I encourage you to give it the opportunity of messing in here. I encourage you to copy all your contents into a new folder, a sandbox, if you will, to experiment. Don't do this with your layout just yet. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And before anything, if you do start playing, go to your file, back up, or hit F10 for a Windows computer. Back this thing up. I backed up all of this, even though this is sort of a training sandbox for a group I work with. Do be careful with that, okay? Back to our controller tab. Auto layout. There's only 6 universes, so I'm not really worried about that. The auto size, as I talked about before, is pretty cool. It'll automatically create the number of universes or channels necessary based on the models put in it. And of course here, I haven't used auto layout models for this because I already have existing universes in place. I simply only wanted to be able to take advantage of the visualize to drag and drop various models onto the ports. I think this could be a very fast way. I think you just have to weigh in based on your layout, what's going to work for you. All right. That's all I have for you on this. The rest of this is pretty simple to follow along with. Upload input, upload output, which replaces the right click. Upload, send to E131, send to controller connections. It's all down here. You want to double click on this, that'll open up another browser for the controller, or click the open button, and that's about it. When you do want to make changes in here, there is no right click change. There is no change button over here. Everything's to the right. If you want to add more universes, you do it right here, or the universe count, and then if you want to change the start universe, it's there, and the number of channels per universe. Pretty cool stuff. I'm impressed. I'm just trying to figure out the applications for folks that already have their layout, where this falls in line for them. You let me know. Drop me a line. We'll catch you later.